It's Thanksgiving week, and I'm very thankful here at Retro Gaming with Deadfred, and I'm very thankful especially for Gamma. Now, if you don't know who Gamma is or what GammaOS is, then it is a custom firmware or a improvement that Gamma, who is a very experienced Android developer, has brought to some of our most loved handhelds, beginning with the RG405M way in the back in the day, making a lot of Anbernic devices much better. And Gamma OS was just the beginning because Gamma then found quite success and was motivated to continue to bring more of his magic to many handhelds. Well, one of this year's most exciting releases, he has now launched and brought his Gamma Next 2. That's right, the Mangmi Air X, one of the most interesting and probably sought after handhelds of this Christmas season for its ability to push the boundaries of under $100 emulation along with a great build quality, has now gotten even better with Gamma Next. So I wanted to just talk about today. I've installed Gamma Next on the Mangmi Air X, and I wanted to kind of just share with you guys my experience using it and why this has taken a handheld that was already great and moved it into a whole nother level of awesomeness. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode of our content. But let's dive into Gamma Next on the Mangmi Air X and take a look at what it can do. Are you tired of services that just don't work? You don't have time to cook. The family's coming. It's a big Thanksgiving dinner, and you just need to rely on someone that can really get the job done. Well, why don't you try out this service like this gentleman has?
Whoa.
At Deadfred Catering, we don't turkey around.
Yeah. What?
That's right. We don't turkey around at Deadfred Catering. So this Thanksgiving, make sure you... No, wait. I don't have a catering business, although I think it would be pretty cool. Hey, Deadheads. Welcome back to the channel. Or welcome to the channel for the first time, new Deadheads. Today, we're going to take a look at... Now, let's start first with the Mangmi Air X and an overview of it. I do have it here, and this does have Daijisho, which is the default screen that you'll see with Gamma Next. Now, you can install any Android-based front end that you want, but Gamma does install with Daijisho. But the Mangmi Air X is a handheld that was released at a very, very competitive initial starting price of $79, but now is hovering around the $90 to $95 range, which is still very competitive. We have a superior build quality that has really good hardware, from the buttons to the D-pad to the genful sticks that you can replace. It has everything you would want, along with a beautiful 5.5-inch screen. Now, we're locked at 60 Hertz and it's LCD, but again, we're under $100, and this is an amazing device. I've already done the review of this, so go take a look at that video. This is a great device. It has their own software along with their Mangmi touches, and that already was pretty sufficient for what gamers would want to do. But let's kind of talk about what Gamma has been able to do to this. This has that Snapdragon 662, and I do want to caution folks, there was a lot of buzz about this being a PS2 machine. It is not a PS2 machine. It can play some PS2 games, especially the 2D platformers or the RPGs, but I would not look at this as really a PS2 machine. It's closer to being more of a GameCube machine if you really want to push the envelope. But I want to be clear here that all the improvements that Gamma has brought is not really pushing this into another level of emulation. So for those hoping that he could do magic to make this suddenly play flawless PS2, that is not happening here. That's not what the point of this is. So let's get that out of the way. But now that we have that out of the way, I have been using Gamma Next for a few days here, and I wanted to kind of just share my experience with it. But let's start with let's go over a list of the improvements that have happened, or actually let's start with the process by how you do this. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video, but I wanted to take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, Nyxi. Nyxi has this amazing GameCube-inspired controller called the Wizard 2, and they were gracious enough to send it over for us so we could take a look. Now, first I want to say that GameCube is one of my favorite all-time systems to emulate, but we all know that Nintendo has always liked to use some of those goofy control schemes. So having a controller that more closely and naturally mimics that control scheme only makes emulation better. Have you ever found yourself trying to play something like Super Mario Sunshine on a regular Xbox type controller and you're like, man, this just isn't playing very well? Well, this solves that problem completely because it gives us those GameCube specific controls that helps you game better. And who doesn't want to game better? In fact, there's even more to it. This controller can also split apart. That's right, it can split apart and you can use it like Joy-Cons, left and right. That's even amazing because you can attach it to your Nintendo Switch. Now, if you have a Nintendo Switch 2, I want to let you know some awesome news because Nyxi now has a device, an attachment that can actually help retrofit onto your new Nintendo Switch 2. And Nintendo Switch has online GameCube. It's really cool, so you can play with some of the newest technology. These controllers include things like TMR and Hall-based technology to give you the best of all the new stuff while giving you that great retro feel in the hand. Make sure to hit the link in the description below because we have some great codes to help support it. And we want to thank Nyxi for sending this over. Again, I have been taken back in time to nostalgia by playing some of the best GameCube games, as you can see here, on things that run Bluetooth, or you can use their adapter to even play it on original hardware or the PC, whichever you want to do. Make sure again you check out the discounts and get the best deals, and make sure you ask for that attachment so you can use it on your Nintendo Switch too. Anyways, back to the show. So first things first, Gamma has a release schedule that I think is very fair and awesome of him. After 60 days from initial release, this software that he produces will typically become to the general public at no charge. For the first 60 days, if you want to reach this information or get a hold of this, you do need to subscribe to his Patreon. I subscribe. I think it's a great thing. It's very modest. It helps him fund future development. He's already proven that he can bring to our handhelds great improvement, so I think it's a great investment, and I would encourage you to support Gamma. Now, that being said, if you're fine with waiting 60 days, then the release for the Mangmi AirX will first become available sometime in January. So this is for those of you who are willing to go ahead and support and download as I did. And so you do need to be a Patreon supporter to get it now or wait. For instance, some of the releases he released over the summer are now available for the general public on other handhelds. You can go to his Patreon. I have all the links below to check it out and to become a Patreon member. Now, there's also the GitHub where you can download the actual information and files that are needed in order to do this. Now, this is not a tutorial. He has a great write-up on there as to how to do it. I followed it. He's also active in Discord if you have any questions. So I didn't really feel that I needed to do a video tutorial on this. If you follow the instructions, they're pretty simple. If they look too intimidating for you, you probably need to get a little more familiar with retro gaming and emulation first anyways, because you don't want to screw up your handheld that's working the way it was intended from the beginning. So caution for that. Now, it's pretty straightforward. He has provided all of the necessary files that you would use. In order to install this, you are going to use some Qualcomm drivers that you do need to install into your Windows machine. I did this on Windows. If you're trying to do Mac OS or Linux, I don't have any information there. There could be support there, but this is on Windows that we did it. You'll need to use a 7-zip manager in order to do this. At that point, trying to unzip it will ask you for the password from Patreon. Please don't share that password. Make people pay for it and get it themselves. He deserves the support. But once you do that and unzip it, then you're going to have the files, including the Qualcomm drivers and a program called QFill, which is meant for Qualcomm programs to do it. You're then going to prepare your device. You have to have it all the way turned off, and then you're going to hold both volume up and volume down together. Here, both of them click, and insert your USB into the machine. Upon doing that, you should see the Mangmi logo really quickly come on and go off, and you should hear a beep on your computer, and that should put you in the right state, which is Qualcomm HS USB Q Loader 9008. Once you pull up QFill, you'll go through the steps as he's got them listed here. I'm not going to walk through each steps, but you should make sure that it is in the right bootloader. You will do the steps that are sitting here, and then you will, hopefully, if everything is right, you'll click download, and you'll watch magic as it starts to download the new software to the handheld. After a period of time, it'll make that noise again. It'll let you know it's done, and then hopefully you will see that beautiful Mangmi logo come up, followed by GammaOS. So that is sort of the prerequisites to get started. Again, this isn't a tutorial really, just an overview of the process. It took me about 20 minutes to do this, to get everything set up and get it installed, and it was pretty straightforward. Now, a word of caution, apparently there are now multiple panels, and I don't think this is that unique, but newer units are shipping with a slightly different timing of their panel. So Gamma had to get support to fix that. As of the posting of this video, there is information about whether you have the first panel or the newer panel and which one to use. So just make sure you check that out. Anyways, now that we've got this downloaded and installed, let's talk about all the improvements. So the first thing, and probably the biggest, and what's really exciting to me, is that Gamma has brought Android 14 to this, and Lineage OS 21, which is a version of Android that's more open source. It includes a wide range of features, visual improvements, performance upgrades, and device-specific fixes for the Mangmi Air X. So a few of the things is, again, Android 14 is bringing us a little closer to the most recent modern Android, which means if you want to try some Android gaming on this, you should have a little bit better support of that. One of the things that Gamma has done in the past and continues to do is that he tries to optimize the Android builds, removing bloat, removing things that would be specific to a phone, for example, that you want that more consoleized experience, and giving some of these handhelds extremely awesome battery life in the past. I have GammaOS on my KTR1, and I can't tell you how much better battery life that thing has since installing Gamma. So Gamma is also great for optimization, and this has reduced background overhead and faster system responsiveness. It also has updated security and graphic pipelines. One of the things that I was really interested in this that I haven't really seen in other Android builds from Gamma, this has global shaders. A CRT Simple and LCD3X are now included. So as I show you here, you can go into the top menu, press a little button, and bam, suddenly you have global shaders across everything. So that is really nice and easy and simple to do if you want to have some of that retro handheld look real easily without going into RetroArch or trying to figure out how to use it on some of the standalone emulators. There's also full shader configuration from a long press on the shader tile and high DPI scrolling and rotation behavior handled automatically. The other thing that I was excited to find is it's upon booting this thing, he's got the RGB set up to where it follows things that are happening on the screen, but he does have new effect modes, color formats, and brightness controls. You long press the RGB tile to access advanced LED options for better color accuracy and more reliable LGD triggering. Now these are more superficial things that don't really help with the improvement of the efficiency, or does it? Does RGB really improve things? I don't know, probably not. And then improved navigation and UI. The immersive mode is enabled by default, so you get that more console-like experience. Again, Android's made and targeted at phones or tablets, and so this is getting it a little more to what we want in the community. The taskbar and status bar are hidden until swipe from an edge, and there's a fix for the task switcher not responding to touch. He's even delved into the world of making these things sound better. No, there's not new speakers, but you can get Gamma EQ back in added to improve audio control. Added to improve audio control, a fast mixer, performance tuning across multiple frameworks, and device-specific fixes for the Mangmi Air X. One of the things that he did is he updated the graphics driver to the 2025 revision. So Mangmi shipped it with a 2024 graphics driver. So right there, we have an improved graphics driver, which means, yes, you might be able to have things play a little better than they did before, depending on that. He's also fixed the Netflix DRM, so playback and Netflix-based games work correctly, and he's corrected the panel behavior to run at a stable 60 Hertz. So there are so many optimized and awesome things that this brings to it. That is all a list of stuff, but I want to just talk about since using it. It is fluid. It just feels even better than before. Someone asked me if it means that we can play things we couldn't play before, and as I said in the beginning, that's not really what it does. It is more about making this thing feel smoother, fluid, pick up and play. Now, this is a handheld that if you want to play everything up through N64, PSP, Dreamcast, Nintendo DS, it is going to play all of that very well. Even Sega Saturn, unless you're trying to do Beetle, but even Sega Saturn is going to play really good on this. This is probably the best PSP machine to get at $100, and Gamma has just made this better. So, again, you're looking at the $90 for this, and then the $10 to Gamma, so you're still right at $100, but you're getting an incredible machine that has caught up in manufacturing, should be shipping in a timely manner, and shouldn't have the issues that we had in the past. I've been playing, enjoying this over the weekend. I really am not much of a Daijisho person, but again, you can put Emulation Station Desktop Edition on there, make it look great and fantastic. All the setup and stuff you did, and this will be continued to be developed. Gamma will probably release future versions and make this even better. It's just the beginning in it. So guys, I think that the Mangmi Air X was already great. I think it's even better, and now that GammaOS is on it, or Gamma Next, I want to just share with you guys my enjoyment. What do you want to know? Leave me a comment. What do you think about this? Again, he took it to Android 14. He's doing things the manufacturers aren't even doing. So let's support our boy Gamma. Remember to hug your loved ones and love your hugged ones, because tomorrow's never promised. We'll see you next time, Deadheads. Deadfred out.